My knee-jerk reaction in the morning is to run wide-eyed towards the sun.
Welcome to the Every.Thing.After podcast. I'm Rob, your host, and I'm here with Christy, and we have just gotten back from watching Superman. It's Superman Day in our house, and we're going to talk about it.
Hold on, first I have to add some sugar to my coffee. Hold on. Still adding. There were some parts in the movie that were so, like, I could just relate. None of the superhero stuff or saving the world stuff, but there were just some little, like, newspaper things or some dog things. There were some things that were actually relatable.
Yeah.
So we had a good time today.
We did have a good time. So just right off the bat, fantastic film, fantastic movie. James Gunn has knocked it out of the park. It's the Superman movie that we've always wanted, that we've wanted really since Christopher Reeve hung up the cape. It's just a fantastic, just bright and colorful and hopeful, just super movie. Yeah.
There's your headline.
I'm a little bit at a loss for words because I was just really kind of blown away by it. Like I was just enraptured for the entirety of the film.
You clapped a few times.
I clapped. Yeah, I clapped sometimes, and I cheered, and I kind of wiped a tear out of my eye a couple times.
Yeah.
It was really the experience, and we decided that we were going to see it for the first time on the biggest screen we could possibly see it on. And so there I go, cryptos. Yeah,
we have two cryptos.
We do have. I was just wondering, do you think we could, like, would it be weird to just rename our dogs Crypto, like both of them Crypto, just like?
Because they're both together anyway, so you just say Crypto and they both would come.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I was a huge fan of Crypto in this movie. Like,
oh my gosh,
it's no surprise, but
yeah.
I'm a big dog.
Yes, I think you clapped mostly at the dogs, but yeah,
Really cool. The dog was great. It was a great thing to see Superman have a dog, and
that was very relatable.
It was very relatable. Yeah. So we saw it in IMAX in Cleveland and at the Regal in Crocker Park, and it was a great experience to see it there. And of course, this movie's got a lot of Cleveland in it, so couldn't think of a better place to watch it the first time out, the first of many times out. I would imagine I'm going to see it quite a few times, probably in theaters. I need to see it probably again this weekend for sure. So, yeah, that's how much I really loved it. I really did. I was a little concerned at first. I've been excited about it ever since it was announced. I've been just a little bit concerned because I think that, like, I don't think James Gunn is infallible as a director. I think that he's been hit and miss. I mean, on some things, like he's directed some things that I haven't cared for too much. Like he's done a lot really with superheroes that kind of like that sort of stretches into a little bit of the kind of satire, the parody, category. Like he's done a little bit with, like, there's a whole genre of superhero films really that the goal is to kind of make them gritty or make them real in a sense that, that they are fallible, that they're faulty, they have deep personal and sort of personality flaws, and in some cases make a lot of questionable decisions, and in some cases are just downright anti-heroes and just, use a lot of 4-letter words, so to speak, uber violent, a lot of blood. And so James Gunn's done some of that kind of superhero film, and obviously that's not what we needed in a Superman movie. And so I'm certainly glad that he recognized that, and really brought a real reverence, I think, for the character and for the story, and for telling the story about, just a good guy, just a good superhero, like a superhero that is for truth and justice and liberty and cares about people and wants to save people. And we just really did a nice job with Superman, in my opinion. And we'll just talk about some of the things that we really loved about it. I love that it just kind of started in the middle of something, just to start out. Like we see like this sort of like, that we see the Arctic, we see, this snowy, icy scene, and we get a scroll kind of, we get some text on the screen that sort of lays out where we are in terms of this story. And we'll go too much into detail, but there have been some superheroes on, in this reality, in this world for some time. We find out, that Superman has been Superman in this world for 3 years. We also find out that Lois knows that Clark Kent is Superman. They have a relationship. They've had a relationship for a couple of months at this point. And when we first see Superman, what's really striking is that we see him at his low point, because it says like 3 minutes ago, he lost for the first time. Like he was in a battle and he lost. He was defeated. Like he was overpowered. And so we see him, in the snow, bloodied and beaten and, struggling to stand and at a real low point. And we've seen, of course, this in the trailers, like everybody's seen much of this scene. His dog comes and his dog doesn't know, as dogs do. He comes and thinks he sees his companion and he thinks it's playtime, and he starts kind of jumping on him and he wants to play, and he's pulling on him, tugging on him and stuff. And
like our dogs.
Like dogs do, that's how dogs are. And then, he has to crypto. He holds out his cape. He tells him to take him home. And, his home that he's referencing this, and of course, is his Fortress of Solitude, where he has kind of a robot family to take care of him. And he has a connection there to his Kryptonian heritage. He goes there to heal, because the robots kind of mend him. They expose him to some extreme sunlight, which of course is what he needs to heal. And that's where the story starts. So we see him at this low point, and then, he doesn't really even give himself a chance to fully recover. He's here, and one of the robots, the main robot, number 4, voiced by Alan Tudyk, fantastic, tells him, I think he's somewhere in the range of 80% back to health. And he's like, well, back to the fray, gotta go back to the battle, and that's just Superman. He's like, nope, I gotta go back. There's people in danger. And he goes back into it, right back into the battle. All the robots like, well, you lost to this opponent, this foe, at 100%, and you're not 100% now. So, but he's like, well, got to do what I got to do. I'm Superman.
You're right. It draws you right in. And if you happen to not be familiar with Superman, it tells a lot of his story. But yeah, we saw it today with our kids and our son's girlfriend. And I thought Brandon was saying too that it just brings you right in. There was no slow point. It just, you don't have to wait a while for the story to pick up or anything, or didn't have to explain anything or do a backstory. It just, the whole time, the whole movie, it was just nice action the whole way.
Everybody knows who Superman is. Everybody knows the story of Superman and how he came to this planet as a baby, was raised by a childless couple, a Kansas farmer and his wife. And everybody knows that origin story. We've seen it. We didn't really need a rehash of that. And it's like picking up a Superman comic book or turning on, the Superman cartoon or something like that. And it's just, you just immediately, where you are, what you're watching, who this is, and you just get that story immediately. And it's just great.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, there's so many characters in this too, that one of the downsides to having a lot of characters, one of the upsides is that it's always interesting. There's some great characters in this story, and they all really lend, something to it. One of the drawbacks, of course, is that in a 2-hour movie, you can't get to know everybody extremely intimately when you have a big cast of heroes and sidekicks and stuff, in your films. We get some other heroes in this movie that we're introduced to, and we don't get their backstories either. And they're really interesting. And some people are going to know who they are from comics and things like that, and some people aren't. But the good thing is that this is one movie, and it's kind of the restart of a DC cinematic universe. There's going to be a lot of movies, and we're going to have lots of chances to get to know these characters more and get to really understand their motivations and things like that. I think you get a good sense of the key characters in this. Of course, I think that, obviously it centers around Superman. It centers around Lois Lane and Lex Luthor. That's the trifecta. That's the three right there that it really has to, I think we get a real sense of we get a real sense of who these characters are. We have some prior knowledge coming into this, so that helps as well. But, we get a sense of this is the Superman that we know, and then the characters around just sort of add this richness to it and everything. And Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor is just, what a fantastic actor. Yeah. What a fantastic performance. He's just, he has a depth in this. Luthor's all about ego and ambition. He's self-centered. He has sort of grandiose dreams of being king, of having ultimate power, but ultimately he wants everybody to love him. He wants everybody to envy him, to admire him. And that's what Superman has. And that's why he hates Superman with a passion like he does, because he wants what Superman has. And it eats at him that this person, which he would say isn't a person, is an alien, is getting that kind of attention, and he's not. And so he's this powerful person with all this money and all this influence. He can change the tides. Like, he has the power to put nations at war. He has the power to really shift almost anything to his will. And he's kind of drowned out by this super being, this incredible force, this protector, this hero, and it just eats at him. And so we get a real sense of that from Nicholas Holt's portrayal of Lex Luthor in this.
And he seems so young too. I just kept thinking, he just seems so young, and he's an excellent actor. He did a very good job. All of them, it was cast so well.
Yeah, it really, really was. And then the relationship between Superman, Clark, and Lois, to me, is just so heartfelt. It's just so warm, and I just really love them together. They have such amazing chemistry. David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, such incredible chemistry, from the start. And we get pretty early, that scene in her apartment where she's interviewing him as Superman, right. And it sets up really a lot of layers, I guess, to these characters and their feelings and their relationships toward each other, because they're really early in this relationship still. Neither one of them have said I love you at this point. We find out later. It's really early. Lois is having some doubts, I guess, about whether or not she can sustain a healthy relationship, and they have a little bit of a falling out. They have a little bit of a tiff over this interview. It gets a little heated, and it doesn't really end great. They don't really end the night on a good note, and that's realistic too. Again, it's just really realistic, because sometimes you have moments like that in a relationship, and that it's gonna work out. You just know it's going to work out. You can see that they care for each other very deeply. And so, it's really a lot to me, and I've heard other people say this too, but this movie really shines, I think, in the quiet moments, and the moments where it's, just sort of characters talking to each other, and expressing themselves, expressing their feelings, their fears and their doubts, and their in some cases, a little bit of maybe imposter syndrome or something, they feel like just this sort of struggle with their own identity and who they are and what they represent. And there's a lot of that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. You do see that a lot between those two. And then also with his parents, his parents.
Yeah.
I know. I think that's when I saw the tear come to your eye.
Yeah, I just really loved Ma and Pa Kent in this. I'm so glad that
they were so sweet. They were so great.
I'm so glad that we had both of them, that we had Pa Kent and Ma Kent, because James Gunn, decided he didn't want Clark, Superman, at this point in his life to have lost this figure, this father figure, to still have this relationship, because he needs it. And at one point, again, at a low point, he goes home to the farm in Kansas, and his mom and his dad are there, his Ma and Pa Kent are there, and they know what to do. They know he's hurting, and they know he's struggling, and they know how to pick him back up again, because they've been there with them all his life since he was a baby. They've raised him, and they've raised him to be who he is. Right. And at some point, there's a little bit of a there's a little bit of a contrast between the parents that birthed him and the parents that raised him. And the message really here is that, it's like he could have, like Superman, in any other kind of situation growing up where he was developing his character, where he was deciding who he is as a person, as a human, he could have gone either way. Like he could have gone and been, this kind of tyrant like Luthor, power hungry and seeking obedience, subjects and things like that, rather than saving people. He could have gone that way. And because Ma and Pa Kent were there and they were the ones that raised him on this farm in Kansas, he is who he is.
That's true. That's great. And there was such a great underlying theme of he can't do it on his own, that he needs other people around him to help him, to help keep him strong and to help save him too. And just like the community, even just the support, of his family, support of Lois, support of coworkers, support of other superheroes, and support of even other countries. Just, I don't want to spoil anything, but just there's little, he just needs to see a little sign of support. And it was really cool. Just that everybody needs to, he can't do it on his own. People have to support each other.
Yeah. And he has friends and he has family. He has people that are close to him. He has people that know his secret. He has people who don't yet. And ultimately, a grateful planet, that falters at some point and starts to question his intentions and things. And that really hurts him because he sees everyone as good, as ultimately as in their soul as good. He sees people as good, and he wants to save and help everyone.
Right. That turned so quickly, but that's how it is in real life too. It just turned against him so quickly, and then turned back for him so quickly. And then it was so interesting how they mentioned or on social media, because he reads things against him and stuff like that. And then we see, well, I don't want to spoil it again, but we see how some of those things get out there, some of those hashtags and social media stuff.
Right. It's very clever. I mean, Lex Luthor has really done a lot to kind of
he had
sort of move things in his direction, and
to show he needed all these people, all these departments,
these moves that he's making behind the scenes and everything. Just it's really diabolical. He's a very he's a very bad person. But that said, like I said, like Superman, his one of his greatest attributes, and you may say greatest faults, is that he sees the good in everyone. Like he even at one point, like Lex Luthor has done everything he could possibly do to kill him and destroy so much of what he loves. And he even at some point, tells Lex, I hope that you see in yourself what I see in me, at some time. I hope that we get to the point where you get to see that humanity is what's important. And he hopes that Lex, he even wants to save Lex from himself, and Lex is just so full of hate for him that he can't accept that. But we got to talk about some other characters. I love Ma and Pa Kent. I love how they they live in sort of an unassuming house. It might be a double wide trailer. I think that I might have read somewhere that it is. I don't think I really got a good look at it, but there's wood paneling on the walls. Imagine growing up in this house. You go and you see Superman's room, and there's posters, band posters on the wall. There's Little League trophies on the shelves and things like that. And and we get a real sense of he grew up like we did. And it's just great. And of course there's the scene. There's so many great scenes. Early on, when Ma Kent calls him on the cell phone and she's got the phone down on the table, she's yelling into it because she doesn't really know how it works. And
that reminds me of me yelling into the drive-through.
It's just so perfect. And then he has a real heart with his dad, and then he's ready to go back into action, and his mom says, "I got your boots ready for you."
So great.
So good. I just love that so much. I love them so much. They were so good, and so we have to shout them out. Ma and Pa Kent were so good. And we had because Neva Howell and then Pruitt Taylor Vance played Pa Kent. Fantastic, just did that so well. And then, oh my gosh, David Corenswet was great as Superman, just perfect. And then Rachel Brosnahan really brought, I've said this before, really brought, just a classic Lois Lane back to the screen, very much like Margot Kidder in the original Chris Reeve movies. Just a lot of spark and spunk and just, really smart and just intrepid and just, we don't see her. What I thought was remarkable is like, there's so many times, even in those original ones with Chris Reeves, where she's the damsel in distress. Like she has to be saved by Superman. And you don't really see that in this movie.
It's the other way
around. It's remarkable because she's not the kind of person who's going to need saved a lot. She's smart. She doesn't get herself in a situation like that. And she even, like you remarked, like there's a part in this movie where she's the hero. Mm-hmm. And it's fantastic. Like she saves
stories. They still get the stories out.
And as journalists, they still have to do the job. They still have to get the news out, right? And I love the news, but we're both journalists, and so the newsroom part of this, the news reporting part, was great. We got a good sense of that. I think there could have been more. I really liked what they did with the Daily Planet and with Perry White and Jimmy Olsen and. I thought that those characters were great. I can't wait to see more of it. I think I read somewhere that there might be a Jimmy Olsen series or something.
Oh, okay.
So
there was so much. It's weird to say the comic relief because it already was like a lighter kind of movie, but there was just some parts where you just laughed. Like it was just funny, like just really good. I don't know.
Yeah. So
neat.
Skylar Gisondo, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He was in The Royal Gemstones most recently, is what I've saw him in. And he was great as Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, he's good.
I'd like this. I would watch a series about Jimmy Olsen. What I liked about it too is that he's kind of it's interesting because classically Jimmy Olsen is kind of like he's a photographer at the paper. He's a little bit of a nerd. Compared to, he's slighter in stature and than even Clark and certainly Superman. And he's kind of, goofy and bumbling and things and, getting into trouble and stuff. And, famously has a crush on Lois. There's even that Spin Doctor song, Jimmy Olsen's Blues, where, he's like, which is a great song. Yeah. But in this, he's a little different. Like he's kind of he's almost got a little bit of a heartthrob thing going on himself. Like he's got some he's got women sort of chasing him, and it's kind of interesting.
Funny. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. It does bring a lot of humor to it.
Yeah, it's neat.
And it plays a big part. Like it plays a big role at some point in the story, which is great. He has a key part.
All the characters are so good. It was cast so well. Nathan Fillion,
I love Nathan Fillion.
He pulled it off great.
Yes. Is great in this as the Green Lantern, as Guy Gardner.
I thought he was cast perfectly.
He's cast perfectly. He's got the great snark and great humor in this. He's got this ego and attitude he's just oozing with the whole time. It's just fantastic. He gotta have ego and attitude and to walk around with that bowl cut and actually feel like it's a good look, and that he has no failure of confidence at any point. Like he is like fully into himself, which is through. So he does it perfectly. He has a relationship with James Gunn, who's put him in like everything he's ever done, and likes to put him in situations where he can kind of poke fun at him, and so had to give him the bowl cut haircut, put him in here as Guy Gardner. It works really well. And then, of course, we got the other heroes in this. We have Mr. Terrific.
Yes, amazing. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know anything about Mr. Terrific. The actor's amazing. The character is so cool. I want to see Mr. Terrific movies now. I want to watch the Mr. Terrific show.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Yeah, and I think he might get his own show too. I think, and he was fantastic. Edie Gathegi. I think I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but wow.
He can do anything.
Really
He's really cool.
Really good in that role.
Yeah.
He really
so
really
fun
stood on it. He was really great.
Like our daughter said, he was like so nonchalant about everything, and then just like
Well, he's a genius. He's a genius, and so he's like got all this nanotechnology and everything that he's using. Like he's a hero. Like he doesn't really have superpowers other than like he's a very smart person, and he has all this tech and everything that he's developed. Like he's got like that's what sort of makes him super. Like he has all that. He has those, the T sphere.
Right, that is all the tech, yeah.
And the nanotechnology and everything. He has this awesome ship. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. So he can fly. Like he's got so many things going on. And, but like where he shot, like there's a part where, he has to do something at a computer, and there's somebody, and he's like, "Well, I can help." Somebody says, "I can help you with it." He's like, "I don't need help. I'm Mr. Tresick. Like I don't need your help." Yeah, he's just great. He's really great. And then Isabella Merced is Hawk Girl.
I wanted to see more of her.
I want to see more of her. I think she has a few moments to shine, but I don't think we really got a great sense of her motivations.
She could have her own show too. There could be so many spin-offs, so many sequels. I mean, this opened up so many doors. It made you want more. It explained enough, but you want more. So it was
that's what it was meant to do. I mean, it's an introduction to this world again.
Yeah.
And it's a reintroduction to this world. And so we're going to get all this content later. We're going to get to know more about all these characters and everything. And I think that's great.
I don't know the actress, engineer. She was really good too.
Yeah.
I'd like to know more of her story.
Yeah. Maria Gabriella Defoe.
Is that what she was called? Yeah. She was good.
Yeah, she was pretty, again, serious and scary.
Yeah, and the writers, it was just brilliant what they came up with. Through the whole thing was sort of the edge of your seat kind of thing. Although we were reclined, but it's still edge of your seat, just crazy. Like really, you almost could have killed Superman. Like no way, like all throughout. So really good, great special effects, of course. You laugh out loud.
Great, I mean, James Gunn. He never misses with the effects and with the fight scenes, the battle scenes. They're all great. He even, he brings some kind of mainstream sort of pop music in some of the action sequences and stuff. We get a little bit of that, not as much as you would in like a Guardians, where it plays a big role in the film. It does play a little bit of a role in this film because there's some discussion about whether or not Superman can be punk rock, which is funny because like the songs that they play are punk rock inspired. And so there's a little bit of that. There's always, James is always sort of connecting it to music in some way. So there's a little bit of that connection here, which I like to see. And of course we get a lot of great score, which, you need that in a Superman movie just to give that sense of just gravitas to it. It recalls the John Williams score from the original movies and with Chris Reeves. And so it's really great. It's really great. It sounds great. It looks great. The pacing is fantastic. We get a sense. We get introduced to a lot of this world, and it leaves you wanting more. Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, can't wait for the next one already.
Yeah. So
then, do you stay for the whole entire thing, right? Because there's a couple little fun things.
Yeah, so we can talk about that a little bit. There are 2 credit scenes in this movie, and what's great about them is they don't really set something up. They don't really set up the next movie. Like, and James Gunn said he didn't want to do that. Like he was kind of a pioneer of this when they started doing credit scenes in Marvel movies. Like he was part of the team that's really sort of like came up with that concept. And originally it was just meant to be, if you watch the original Avengers, it's like the Avengers sitting in a diner eating shawarma, and they're not. It doesn't have to be anything else other than that. It's not like, some character comes in at the end and like, they're definitely going to be in the next one. They're going to be in the sequel, and it sets up the next movie. And James Gunn didn't want to do that because he's been in a position before where he's been locked into doing something in a movie that he's doing because some guy who directed the one before him put something in the end credits, and so he had to write something. He had to write around it and put a character in there and shoehorn the character in there. I won't talk too much about that, but he's been in that spot before, and he didn't want to do that. He'll probably direct the next Superman movie, but if somebody else were to come along, he wouldn't want to handcuff somebody into doing something that didn't feel natural to the story. So I like that. I mean, they're just a couple scenes, and they're just little extras. They're like little sides, little sidebars. Not quite not quite bloopers or anything like that. They're real actual scenes, but just a little bit of extra, just a little sauce on the side, you know.
I saw someone, I think in our row, they pointed. So I was thinking some people might be there like, oh, there's my apartment, or that's where I walk every day, or I work there, or whatever. That was really cool, trying to see if you can recognize places.
That was great. You know, there's Cleveland shows up, Cincinnati shows up in this movie.
That was so cool.
It was really great to see that.
Stadium. Like we were there?
Well, yeah.
I think I'm mostly familiar with Cleveland, just driving around trying to find a place to park for things.
Theater building, it was
like I think I recognize all these buildings.
It was very cool, and that you've seen it in the trailer, but that scene with Superman and Lois kissing in the air, floating there in the arcade is just so iconic. It's just so incredibly iconic. Like I want that on a poster. I just want that scene on a poster because it's so good.
I think everyone has to go to the arcade and kiss now and take pictures. We kissed where Superman and Lois kissed.
Yeah, maybe.
So we were talking, it was interesting though, we didn't see him as Clark Kent very much with his glasses.
We got a little bit of it. We got enough of it. But what was interesting though is that because we see him, what I really loved, he shows up as Clark and he's kind of like hurried and he's late for work and he's got all this papers in his arms, and Perry, the editor, he's like, "You're late again." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. White," and everything. And then they're all kind of ragging on him. He's got a front page story for the first time, and his mom calls him and she's like, "I can't believe you're on the front page."
That was so
and they're all giving him a hard time about his story and stuff. And Lois is giving him a hard time about his use of, adjectives and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's so perfect. And then, and then right after that, we get them in Lois's apartment, and he's like, "That was fun today." Like that back and forth between us. It was so fun. I love that. And I want to see more of that in the next Superman movie. They had to do so much in this movie. And so we didn't get a chance to really spend a lot of time anywhere. Right. But we got a taste of everything, and it was just so good. Every part of it was so perfect. We could have had more of that, but we would have had to sacrifice, something else. And, it just measured it out just perfectly. I thought we got enough of everything, and some of it we got more than enough of.
Right.
We definitely got our fill of the humanity, and that's really what was important in this, was just getting at the humanity of this character, and just just the heart and the humanity, and just again, seeing the good and wanting to be good. And gosh, that's what we needed in a superhero movie. That's what we needed in any movie. That's what we needed in a Superman movie so badly. And we got it. And it's so great. And I've always loved Superman as a romance too. Cause the Clark Kent, Superman, Lois thing is just so great. I always really liked, the Lois and Clark TV series with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher. Cause there was a lot of that relationship stuff going on, and I always thought it was really sweet, and I just thought it was really well done. I thought that their chemistry and their relationship was just perfect on screen, and I can't wait to see more of those characters together. They're just so good. Yeah, and it just had it just wrapped up really well. I don't want to give away the ending, but gosh, there's some scenes at the end that just really, really tugged at my heartstrings. Really, really did. And I would just say it just felt perfect. It just felt perfect to me.
Definitely worth seeing again, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody. I think anybody would enjoy it.
Yeah. And Crypto's origin is comic accurate, so some people will know what that means and some people won't, but if you do know what it means we do get a character in this at some point, just a peek at a character in this movie that we're going to get more of later. And I thought that was really well done and really, really well executed. I'm excited for that as well. I'm excited to see more Crypto on the screen. And I'm really renaming these two dogs that we have here, Crypto 1, Crypto 2. Do you think that'll be too confusing for them? I see so much of our dogs on Crypto.
It's totally like Crypto. And then we've got this little long-eared beagle who's also kind of like Crypto. So yeah, that would work out. I think Superman needs a beagle. Maybe Lois could get a beagle. I'm
really thinking about my next tattoo now too.
a big Superman symbol on your back?
No,
On your chest, of course.
no.
Big Superman symbol on
I've
your
been
chest.
thinking about a crypto tattoo on my other forearm, but we'll see if that comes.
Make it look a little bit like Dewey.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we can say anything else without really giving away too much.
How many times are you going to see it in the theater?
I don't know. I
At least 3 times.
Well, 3's probably on the low end. I'm going to see it a lot. I have a Regal Unlimited pass, so I could go and watch it every day this week if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And that might happen. I don't know. We'll just see. I do want to see it
again. Text Rob and he'll see it with you.
I will see it with you. Absolutely. I will.
He'll meet you there.
I probably will see it we saw it in IMAX. I'll probably see it in every format. I'll probably see it in 3D. I'll probably see it, on a regular screen in a XT theater. I might see it in a drive-in. I might see it in a drive-in theater. And if there's a drive-through movie theater too, I might see it there. I want to watch it in every format.
VHS, DVD.
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. Yeah. Laserdisc, the whole thing.
The soundtrack.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for coming on and talking with me about Superman. Superman was great. We are excited for more. We'll get Joey back on here next week. Hopefully he'll have seen it by then.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to
We
say.
can talk about it again a little bit more. But this is a special episode. We're going to get it out there a little late because it was Superman Day for us, and we spent the day with Superman, and it's going to be out there a little late, but we hope you'll give it a listen. And until the next thing. Hi, my name's Rob, and I'm just leaving the theater after watching 28 Years Later. I'm going to be talking about it later with my friend Joey Bones over on the Every.Thing.After podcast, where we have a show called Knee Jerks, an ETA Podcast. That's where we get to share our knee-jerk reactions to movies and music, TV shows, really just about anything. And we hope that you'll share your knee-jerk reactions with us as well. Join our community on Instagram at Every.Thing.After Our episodes drop every Friday. Thanks for checking us out. Until the next thing.